The following is general advice only and should not be construed as accounting, legal, or any other professional advice. The details of your situation are fact dependent, and you are advised to seek the help of a competent professional. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to CPA Reviewed, the official podcast of another71.com. I am your humble host, Jeff Elliott, a licensed CPA in the state of Kansas. Today is Friday, March 29th, 2013. Good Friday. Today is Good Friday. A very good Friday to you. And it is Easter weekend. All right, on today's show we have, we'll probably knock out 10 questions. 10 up, 10 down. And let's start with Leah. Leah called the Ninja Hotline at area code 323-834-9132. And if you call the Ninja Hotline, good things will happen to you, I promise. Now, Leah is also a Ninja blogger on another71.com. So I think she already has all of the Ninja goodies. I think she already has the 10-point combo. And so I will give a, I will give a 10-point combo away to someone who wrote in, which I'll get to in a little bit. But normally people who call in, they are eligible for the 10-point combo. And but in this case, only one person called in, and she already had the 10-point combo. So, hey, I can start my own drinking game every time I say 10-point combo. Everybody drink! All right, what am I drinking tonight? I am drinking Arizona sweet tea. All right. So let's see what Leah has to say.
Hi, Jeff. I'm Leah, and I post on the forums as 10Key, and I'm also a blogger. My question is purely speculative about future requirements. I know most states now require the 150 credits to be licensed, and I think there's still a few states that have not made that change yet. And it's created some issues for those that want to move between states or for those that were grandfathered in. So my question is, do you think that eventually there will be a move towards requiring a master's degree? And could that be in the near future? Could it also pose issues for continuation of problems caused when states have made their own rules? So that's my question. Thanks, Jeff.
All right, Leah. Well, thank you for calling, and I appreciate it. Again, you can call the Ninja Hotline at 323-834-9132. That's an LA phone number, but I'm rocking it on a little farm here in Kansas. All right. Her question is about licensing and the 150-hour rule. My understanding is that every state requires 150 hours to be licensed, but some states require 120 hours to sit for the exam. In other words, you can go take the exam. So, and let me back up. I had a buddy who lives here in Kansas, and he did not have his 150 hours, but he wanted to pass the exam and have that he passed the CPA exam on his resume. Did not hold himself out as a CPA because that's a big no-no. But he wanted to put on he was already a CMA and a CIA, and he was going to get his MBA. Anyway, I think that rhymed. And so he took the CPA exam through the state of Colorado. So he would literally drive down the street to the testing center in Kansas and would take the exam as a Colorado candidate because, unless something's changed, Colorado is a 120-hour state. They might have changed. I don't remember seeing that. But anyway, check that out. And so some states still only require 120 hours to sit, but then you have to get your 150 hours to be licensed in that state. Keep in mind, it is a uniform exam. Everyone takes the same exam, give or take 10,000 questions in the testing bank. But everyone takes the same CPA exam, but you are licensed in your state. And so all states, and if I'm wrong on this, this is horrible, but I don't know of any state where you can be licensed with 120 hours. So, in regards to the educational requirements and requiring a master's degree, I don't see that happening, because a master's this goes back to the last, or the second to last podcast topic, the topic of getting a graduate degree. I guess in the podcast we talked about getting a graduate degree after you had passed the CPA exam, but on the topic of investing in a graduate degree, you really have to look at your return on your investment for both your time and your money. And so for them to require a master's degree, I mean, there's online degrees that are regionally accredited or whatever. I don't even know what that means. But where you can get your master's degree on the internet in like a year. Well, compare that to going and getting like a Harvard MBA. Obviously, the two are not the same. And so to require a, quote, master's degree, I don't know how the powers that be could regulate that. And so I don't see that being a requirement. I mean, if in order to require a master's degree, they would have to say, well, passing the CPA exam is not enough for you to meet the minimum requirements to protect the public, but you also have to have a master's degree. I don't see that happening. Leah, I appreciate the call. Please call back anytime, because you might be my only caller. All right, let's jump into the mailbox. You can go to another71.com, click in the upper right-hand corner. It's green. Ask Jeff. And your question will appear in a future edition of the podcast. First up is Sheila. She says, Jeff, I passed the CPA exam back in 1992 and find myself in the position of needing to pass again. It's a long story. What products would you suggest for me? So Sheila's asking about CPA Review Materials. And here's the dealio with that. Okay, you need a CPA Review study course. And there's all shapes, sizes, and flavors out there. You can spend a lot of money. You can spend a little money. You can watch a talking head. You can watch PowerPoint. You can listen to audios. You can read notes. You can work multiple choice questions. Well, I think just about all of them. Well, you can work AICPA license questions. You can do non-AICPA license questions. You pretty much everything under the sun is offered out there. And so here's the deal. A video course is a very good idea. You have to ask yourself, what is your budget? That's important. Are you going to go into debt? Are you going to charge it on your credit card? Are you going to pay cash? So if you're going to pay cash, maybe you go with the $1,000 version. Or if you charge it, maybe you're going to go with a $3,000 version. Or maybe you're going to charge it and get the $1,000 version. And take the other $2,000 and buy a souped-up MacBook Pro. Opportunity cost is at play, people. And so moving on to demos. You got to watch the demos. You can go on Another 71 in the forum, and you'll see people using all the different courses. Go watch their demos. I saw someone this week wanting to sell a course they just bought because they hate it and they went and bought another one. Well, you dropped $500 on a course that you no longer use. Why did you not watch the demos? If you can't stand the instructor, that's on you, because I don't know of any of them that don't have demos. I also don't know of any of them that will let you return the product after you buy it. So make sure that you watch the demos. Make sure that the course is reputable. Most of them are. There's a few that I would say don't go near that one, but that's just because they've been around like 2 months. So going back to your particular situation, Sheila, you passed back in 92, and I think you're wondering, do I need to go back to Accounting 101? I don't think so. I think you will have to really dig into topics like financial accounting reporting, probably read the book, in addition to watching the videos. But I think you can take most review courses and pass, but you definitely want to make sure that you find a course that doesn't just like review the topics, but will go in and teach it. And you'll have to figure out which ones those are by watching the demos, because if in the demo, if they just kind of breeze through it, or if they slow down and go through it from start to finish, I think that's the course that you need, the one that really slows it down. But I think you can take any course that fits all of those criteria: budget, learning style, and pass. Passing back in 92 is not a detriment to you, because people graduate from college and then take the exam 5 years later. That's what I did. Is that right? Yeah. And it's not like I remembered everything from college. You have to relearn the material. So I don't think you're at a disadvantage. Kristen writes, I failed audit 5 times, but passed every other section. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong. I have the Ninja Notes, Ninja Audio, and the Wiley Test Bank, as well as 2 lecture courses. What advice do you have? Well, the first thing I would say is you obviously know the recipe for success because you passed the other 3 courses. So with audit, are you doing anything different as far as just your prep? If the answer is no, then my question is, are you using the Ninja framework, NINJA, which is watch all of your videos? I mean, maybe you didn't use the Ninja framework for the other 3 and it worked for you, but maybe now you really need to. So you watch all your videos. You don't work multiple choice questions until the end. So you watch all of your videos first. If it's got 50 hours, all 50 hours. Except with the exception, if they work multiple choice questions in the video, do it in the video. You take intense notes while you watch the videos. Then you go and do all of your multiple choice questions and take notes over those. Then you spend 5 days or so rewriting your notes, because rewriting your notes takes what you put in longhand and put it into shorthand, like when you're just scribbling, when you were just scribbling furiously. Now you take those scribbles and put it into something that you can actually use. You also reabsorb the material when you do that. And then it all comes together. You're reading your notes all the time. You have the Ninja Audio and the Ninja Notes, so I'm not trying to like market any stuff to you, obviously. So you already have it. So if you don't want to rewrite your own notes, you can rewrite the Ninja Notes. From day one, you should be having those Ninja Notes with you everywhere you go, on your iPad, your iPhone, your Android, whatever. It's a PDF. Take it with you. If you have 5 minutes, read it. Read 2 pages. I mean, it's an outline. Every time you jump in your car, you're turning on the Ninja Audio. You're absorbing the material. When you're going to sleep at night, you listen to the Ninja Audio, which will probably put you to sleep quicker than NyQuil. And your final week before your exam, you pick your weakest topic and do multiple choice questions until you are scoring about 70% or so, give or take. And then move on to your next weakest topic. And you do those in study mode. And that's the Ninja framework. And for audit specifically, I think people, there's so much information now, but if you think about it, everything kind of centers around internal control. So if you don't understand internal control conceptually, what I mean is they can give you some information and you can kind of think through how everything works. Weak internal controls means that you have to do more substantive procedures. Strong internal controls means that you have to do fewer substantive procedures. But wait, you did fewer substantive procedures, which makes your detection risk higher. Because detection risk is the risk that you, as the auditor, will fail to detect a material misstatement. You need to understand those relationships. And so if you focus on one thing, obviously you have to know everything. But if you focus on one thing, focus on internal control, because everything revolves around internal control. Dolly writes, I'm a full-time accountant working 40 to 70 hours a week with no time on weekends to study. I failed BEC 3 times, auditing once, and regulation once. I'm highly discouraged and don't know where to go from here. What should I do? Well, Dolly, you are an average accountant because you're working 40 to 70 hours a week. Everyone does, okay? But everyone still has to study. You cannot study on weekends. You did not indicate why. If it's because you just flat out cannot do that, okay. If it's because you don't want to do it, or it's inconvenient, then you need to think through that. Are you studying 20 to 25 hours a week? And if not, why not? Are you getting up early? Are you studying at lunch? Are you staying up late? My question is, Dolly, are you sacrificing to take the exam? And if you're listening to this, Dolly, you're like, well, yes, you idiot. What I'm trying to drive home here is I want you to do an honest self-assessment. Are you studying 110%, Dolly, or are you studying maybe 70%? If you want to pass, and if weekends are not an option, then you're going to have to really kick it Monday through Friday. Normally I say take Fridays off. You can't take Fridays off from studying because mathematically, I don't know how you fit in the 20 hours. So if Saturday and Sunday, if you can't study 4 hours Saturday and 4 hours Sunday, well, you're going to have to pick up those extra 8 hours somewhere else throughout the week. And it doesn't sound like a very fun week. But most things that are worth doing are not fun. And not to get all philosophical, but so Dolly, you have to sacrifice. If you're not already sacrificing, you've got to sacrifice. Otherwise, you'll just be sending me this email in a year. And the people who fail and then win, they do so because they tweaked something, they gave something up, they changed something, and then they executed their plan. Alex writes, I was just wondering if you had any specific info on how BEC written communication tasks were graded. If I get a written task about an unfamiliar topic that I don't know a whole lot about, should I only talk about what I'm sure is correct or accurate, even if that's very little? Or should I try to give a longer answer and throw a little, quote, BS in there as long as it sounds plausible? Excellent question, Alex. Well, I could swear that I've seen both, that the written communications are hand graded and computer graded. Like the BEC scores are coming out later because they're hand graded or whatever. Like, how can that be? You got thousands and thousands and thousands of BEC exams, and you have 3 written communications on BEC? Who are they? What CPAs are they finding that have time on their hands to hand grade these things? So, I mean, for content accuracy, no, I am going to say that they're computer graded because otherwise I don't know how they're cranking these things out. Because how do you hand grade thousands and thousands of exams times 3 written communications? But that's just, anyway. So I'm pretty sure that they're computer graded. And the AICPA, you can email me, Jeff@another71.com, and be like, yo, hey dummy, read this thing about how the CPA exam is graded. It says so. It's hand graded. I don't know if it, but feel free to correct me, AICPA, of which I am a member, and you should be too. Well, only if you want to get CPE, but and so that they can. Well, that's not true. I have come to appreciate how the AICPA advocates for CPAs in the legislature, because the crap that Congress passes, it affects us. So thank you, AICPA, for your lobbying efforts. Actually came to appreciate that through going to the Maryland Society of CPAs Leadership Institute, Leadership Academy that I went to last year. So anyway, off topic there. And he asks about BSing. Okay, if you don't know how to answer, so I always come back to price elasticity of demand. I don't know why. I think it's I don't know why. If you don't know how to explain price elasticity of demand and the effect of an inelastic good on total revenue, well, you need to write up a storm and drop keywords and make sure that your grammar and your spelling is correct, and just keep it tight. Drop keywords, make it sound like, anyway, make it sound. I almost said, well, never mind. I'm not going to say it. Because it's like things that I think are like politically correct to say. I'm sure I'm going to get like a nasty gram or something because I'm not as polished, or I shouldn't have said that or something. So anyway, you're like, what was he going to say? I'm not going to say it. So yes, BS your way through it. Kim says, I'm studying audit right now. I read your post that you mostly memorize information to pass this section. Is that the best way to approach audit? No, I don't recommend memorizing stuff because, there are still a lot of things in auditing that are conceptual. You do have to memorize a few things, which I point out in the Ninja notes. Oh, wait, hold on a second. And ladies and gentlemen, that sound can only mean one thing. Kim is the winner of the Ninja 10-point combo. So Kim will get Ninja Notes, Ninja Audio, Ninja Flashcards, and the Wiley Test Bank. So Kim, I don't know if you have the Ninja Notes or any of that, but now you have it. So any of the mnemonics in there, there's just a few. Memorize those. The rest of you can go to another71.com, click Study Plan, and you will get a free chapter of Ninja Notes for auditing and for the other sections, and a free chapter of Ninja Audio for auditing and the other sections as well. Jeremy writes, I made a 57 on audit the first time I took it, so I started from scratch and went through all my videos again. Then I scored a 71. Do I need to go through all the materials again? What sections do you have for my next attempt? Yes. Nice job from the 57 to a 71. Huge jump. Going from a 71, trying to get to 75, you got to do all that over again. I know it stinks. But there's something that you're weak in conceptually, and I think you know what it is, whatever topic it is. You really got to hit those hard in addition to everything that you've already done. And I have no idea what materials you have. You should consider adding supplementary materials like the 10-point combo, which I just gave away. Actually, I think that you could use it. What the heck? Let's do it again. And a big hi-ya to Jeremy. He is also the winner of a 10-point combo. So, Jeremy, go back through everything that you've done before. Hit those weak areas. As you did before, start from scratch. Hit the weak areas. And then add the Ninja 10-point combo, which adds the Ninja Notes, Ninja Audio, Ninja Flashcards, and the Wiley Test Bank. And let's get you that 75 or above. Ron writes, I scored a 44 on regulation the first time and a 52 the second time I took it. Should I stick with reg or change it up and try BEC? I'm really frustrated right now. Ron, how much are you studying, man? Because a 44 and a 52, it sounds like maybe you're studying in like 2 to 3 weeks. So you really got to step it up and study 20 to 25 hours a week, and make sure that you're not just going through the motions. Make sure that you aren't distracted with Facebook and other stuff. You really got to hit it hard. And go ahead and shoot me an email, Ron, and we can. I mean, I could be way off base with my assessment here. So shoot me an email, Ron, and we'll delve into it further. Joel writes, I just received my first payment coupon to take the exam in Virginia. I may be moving to Pennsylvania the next couple of months for a job that requests me to have progress towards the CPA. Should I continue with the exam in Virginia even if I get the job and move, or should I just switch everything over to Pennsylvania? Well, with those specific states, just setting aside those specific states, just in general, I would just stick with the state that I'm in, and then you can deal with the reciprocity issues later. Although there might be something that I'm not thinking through, and so I would call the Pennsylvania Board of Accountancy, ask to speak with the director, and explain to them your specific situation. So that's what I would do. And don't feel like you're bugging the director or anything. That's their job. Their job is to help current CPAs, help future CPAs, because without future CPAs like yourself, there will be no more directors of Board of Accountancy, because when all the baby boomers retire, they still need people to pay all of those dues and licensing fees and all that stuff, because otherwise they don't have an office to staff and there's no point of even existing. So don't feel like you are bothering them. Pick up the phone and call. Raina writes, Jeff, I'm having the hardest time passing FAR. I just took it for the third time. I made a 43.65, now a 53. I'm so discouraged. I thought about moving on to a different part and then coming back to FAR. Any suggestions? That might be a good change of pace. And going back to my advice to Ron, maybe that's a good idea too, because let's say that you move on to a different exam and you pass, like you figure out that, hey, you really can wake up at 5 a.m. and study if you have to. Maybe you get this recipe for success, and then you get one under your belt. You get some wind in your sails. If I use one more cliche on this one, I'll have my 3-hit combo. So maybe it is a good idea to move on to the next one, just for a change of pace. There we go. There's my third cliche. And Ketsu writes, and I am sorry if I just butchered your name. I'm horrible with names. I'm currently a sophomore in college, and I chose to be a CPA as my career. I would like to start studying for the exam as soon as possible, but do you think I should wait until I finish school? Absolutely. The CPA exam is a miserable experience. College, in most cases, is a wonderful experience. You might decide that you don't want to be an accountant 2 years from now. Who knows? You might drop out of school and invent the next fill in the blank and make millions and millions and billions of dollars and never take this stupid CPA exam. So, plus, man, if you study for the next 2 or 3 years before you're even ready for the exam, you will hate life. Yeah, I tell students, do not start studying for the exam until you're 8 weeks out from your first exam. Just don't do it. Because let's say you start studying 3 months away. Well, you're going to have, what you study in week 1, you're not going to remember in week 10. You're just not. Well, is that a good place to stop? No. Let's do one more. Kelly writes, if someone has many years of work experience, but no accounting experience, then goes back to school to complete a bachelor's degree in business with an emphasis in accounting, are they likely to pass any of these exams? Absolutely, because let me tell you, most people with an accounting degree, they can't graduate, flip the tassel over to the other side and then go in and take the exam. No, they have to take a review course. And oftentimes it requires learning the material all over again because most accounting programs don't teach you with you passing the CPA exam in mind. I don't know what their agenda is. But you get an accounting degree. Does anyone's accounting degree actually teach them how to do a set of books? Some do, I guess, but it's all just a bunch of theory. They don't teach you how to. They don't teach you how to deal with a client who walks in with a GPS tracking bracelet on their ankle because they got in trouble with the law, and it goes off and they're in your office because the satellite can't track them. It's like, they don't teach you how to do the books for a trucker. They bring in their books once a year in a grease-stained paper grocery bag full of greasy receipts and 11 bank statements. Notice I said 11 bank statements, and you have to create a financial statement, a P&L out of that. They don't teach you how to do that in college. That's when you get to public accounting. And Kelly, you are not at a disadvantage. Will you have to study a little bit more? Probably. But are your chances of passing any lower? I don't think so. Because, people with 4.0s in accounting, get crushed by the exam also. Because they don't study. People like yourself who don't necessarily have an accounting background, or maybe as much as others, you can go in, you can level the playing field by studying hard. All right, everyone. I hope this has been educational, entertaining. Send me your questions, comments, hate mail, another71.com. Click in the upper right-hand corner, Ask Jeff. And it will appear in a future edition of the podcast. Hit me up on Facebook. I think we passed 21,000 likes in the last week, which is 20,700 more people than I'm friends with in real life. All right, everyone. Take care. Have a good one. Call me. Podcast hotline, 323-834-9132. It's so easy. If you want to win something free, call 323-834-9132. Leave a message at the beep. I will talk to you later. Take care.
I'm not impressed by your performance.